So the first topic of blockages, it can be yours or it can be others. And it's a common thing for people to have other people's emotions in their body. I had not realized that until I was in practice for a long time. It just kept coming up, coming up, coming up. That they have a habit of taking in other people's emotions. And sometimes it's a conscious thing because they're trying to help the other person. And so it's like they are the sponge, and that person is emoting all over the place, making, big gestures and angry voices and blah, 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 blah. And their body is taking it in as a way of easing the load that the other person is carrying. Oftentimes that starts as a child when unconsciously we're trying to help a parent deal with whatever it is they're dealing with, or a sibling, and helping them to deal with it. And then when the pattern gets continued and continued and continued, then there's just these layers of just globbing up your body. I can't find the words, it's just these feeling inside. And so just do your best to begin to start peeling the layers out. And it may be 10 layers one day or 1 layer every 10 days. It's really whenever you choose to look at that. So suggestions for how to correct that. Personally, I tend to use visualizations. And visualizations is just imagery. It's something that comes to mind as a tool for being able to clear a problem. In this case, you might want to do what comes naturally to you. I'll give some suggestions that have come up from other people's bodies, and you'll see if any of them fit for you or come up with your own idea. One way is to just imagine that you are pulling it out, that your fingers have energetic extensions on them. And so you go to wherever the problem area is, and you imagine your fingers extending in and just magnetically pulling out whatever that gunk is and throwing it away. And when you throw it away, you really throw it away. It's like into a garbage can or into a black hole, and it gets sucked away so that it's not just right there in your energy field ready to come right back into you. So it's like, hitting the delete button on a computer, that it disappears, but it really doesn't disappear until you empty the trash. So make sure to empty the trash. So with the visualizations, that's one idea. Another is that you could imagine burning it out. Some people are fire people, pyromaniacs. They love fire. They love how fire consumes things. And so you imagine starting a little fire inside that area, and you make your little fire and you add some wood to it and you start it burning. And it can be any color. It doesn't have to be fire color. It can be purple or blue or green or red or whatever you want. And you can muscle test about that, or you can just let your imagination guide you. Go with it. Flow with it. Trust your imagination. It's the same thing as your intuition. It's just a way that works for you. So you could set the little fire in there, and it burns up and turns it into just gases that dissipate whatever the emotional blockage is that you want to get rid of. Another suggestion, which I tend to use a lot because I love humor and this always makes me laugh, is to pretend that I have a vacuum cleaner. And so, okay, there's an area, and then I take my little vacuum cleaner hose and I put it right in front of me and I turn it on and I vacuum it up. And it always makes me giggle, and I trust that that's a good thing. So anything that is humorous and creative is going to help it make it more real for you. Another suggestion that I personally don't do, but some people's bodies love, is explosions, where you put a little bomb inside of the area in your mind's eye. And so you plant 1 bomb, 10 bombs, whatever it is, and then you get ready and you set the trigger, and when you turn it, you watch the fuse going and you watch it burn, and then suddenly, kapow, and it goes way out, concentric circles, all the way out, all the way out, all the way out, and it just turns into nothingness inside of you. So again, there's free range, do whatever feels right for you. After you have done that clearing of whatever the emotions are, you want to reclaim the area for you. So you've had all these emotions stuffed there. Whether they're yours or others doesn't really matter, though it's kind of interesting to note, because you learn more about yourself. And then you want to reclaim that area for yourself. And again, there's many ways of doing that. For me, I tend to focus on either what I call my soul center, which is Dantian, or on my heart, or both, and just picture that in the center of my chest and in the center of my pelvis are the essences of who I really am, and those essences are going to travel to that area and fill it with light, fill it with my energy, with the truth of who I am, with whatever terminology you want to use. And just sit there with it, meditate with it, feel it, so that you really feel like you are reclaiming that area for yourself. You can also use things like essential oils to put topically on your skin over the area, because it helps to stimulate the circulation and bring healing to the tissues, and gets absorbed in through the tissues to the deeper levels. So there's many, many, many ways that you can come up with for yourself of how to reclaim that area. All right. There's also emotional freedom technique, if you're familiar with that, and its various tapping techniques. Or there's the ask and receive techniques. If you're not familiar with either of those, you might want to look them up online. Emotional freedom technique is abbreviated EFT. And they have ways of, you state a statement about yourself and you check to see how much stress does that statement give you. Do you, believe it greatly or not? And then you tap various points on your face and on your body, and you tap these places while you're stating that statement, and it helps to reduce the stress response so that you can then clear that area. Ask and receive is another way of using muscle testing and affirmations, and it's a way of bringing your body into better balance with that whole concept, or with the emotional self. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do an example of that, and then we'll go on to the second topic. So, we have a clear no and a clear yes. Is there any place in my body right now that we can address where there are blocked emotions? Okay. Should I work in my head, my neck, my chest, my abdomen, my pelvis, my upper extremities, my lower extremities? Okay, lower. So hips, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. Heels, arches, balls. Okay, balls of my feet. Are these my emotions? No. Are these others' emotions? Yes. Okay. Do I need to know who? Okay. What would be a good way to clear these emotions? Is it something that I can do right now? Okay. The image is coming to mind of pretending that there are gates opening between my feet and the earth. So it's a direct connection between my feet and the earth, as if I were standing barefoot. So is that an appropriate way? Okay, good. So let me just do that. I'm seeing the gates open, and whatever those emotions are is going down into the earth. It's changing my balance and changing my body energies. And the earth is just sucking out whatever those emotions are, and is fully capable of recycling those into something else more useful. And so I notice that my body has taken a deep sigh. Clear no and a clear yes. Are we done with that? Good. And do I need to continue doing this at home? No. Okay. Should I close the gates? No. Is there more to be dumped through those gates? No. Are my balls of my feet now supposed to receive from the earth? Yes. Okay. So let me do that for a little bit, and just picturing that now the earth is sending energy up directly into the balls of my feet. And notice my body shifting and changing with that. Clear no to clear yes. May we go on? Sorry, you'll have to wait. May we go on? Good, thank you. Okay, so there's an example. I notice my voice is a little bit different now and my eyes are a little different, so I'm still processing that, and hopefully I'll be able to still speak clearly while my body is processing all of that. So you'll have practice time with that. But right now we're going to go on to the second topic in the emotional body that we're addressing today. And that is about no connection. I'm going to call it that. I've also in the past referred to it as a plate, like a metal plate that divides one part of the body from another part of the body, or one part of the body from the whole. And generally something like that happens if there has been some really intense acute pain in an area, or if there has been a long-term abuse of that area. So as an example, a child might have an injury that they don't feel comfortable in telling their parents about, and every time they walk it hurts like the dickens, and yet they are not wanting to tell the parents. They don't want to bother them, they don't want to disturb them, or parents aren't available. And so the child learns as best they can to ignore that pain and to pretend that it's not there. Many, many, many years later, I may see the person as an adult, and it comes up that there is a disconnect from that foot that has been in place all of those years. And oftentimes that disconnect has created more problems in the same area. So they might have sprained their ankles many times since then, or they might have broken ligaments, torn ligaments, or broken bones in that area, just because that disconnect has been in place for so long. Another classic example is with the chronic abuse type of idea, whether it's sexual, whether it's abuse by the own self to the body, that some area may become so distorted and unhappy that it's just created this block, and all the energies, all the meridians, all the flow goes around the area rather than going through it. So it gets less and less circulation, less and less conscious attention from the body. Or from you too. All right, so these plates, the reason that I first pictured them as being metallic is that I went to see, this is when I was in chiropractic graduate school, and I went to see a psychic because everybody in the school was buzzing about how amazing this psychic was. And at the time, I didn't really believe in psychics, and I had my own personal response to this woman because she was not, she wasn't what I thought she would be, and so I had my definite criticisms of who she was and what she was doing. But one of the first things that she said to me was, "Your heart is surrounded by plates of stainless steel." And I said, what? I thought of myself as being empathetic and loving, and how could I have stainless steel plates about my heart? Forget it. From that moment on, I basically discredited everything she had to say, even though she was absolutely right. I didn't realize that until some years later, when, after having problems in my marriage and problems with my firstborn child, and I was realizing that I didn't feel many things at all. I was very empathetic about certain things, and there were other things that it was just, forget it. That's them, that's not me, and I wasn't going there. So when I realized that she was speaking truth, then I had to really go back and look at how can I clear out these plates and let my heart receive and give the way it's supposed to. So what I found from that was to look for that in others, besides treating it in myself, and I found that it's incredibly common, not just about the heart, but about these other situations. Because we are all incredibly sensitive, and we take in all kinds of things that are not necessarily what we should be taking in, and we get hurt or feel hurt by many different things. And so we protect however we can in order to get through life on a daily basis. So, long story short, let's jump into an example with that. May I have a clear no and a clear yes? Are there any other places in my body right now that still have plates of some kind where there's a disconnect? Okay. Is there something else we can use as an example? Okay. Can we go back in time to the plates around my heart? Okay. So we're pretending that me now is me then. May I have a clear no and a clear yes? Is that all right with my body? Does my body have a memory of those times and a memory of those plates? All right, so if those plates were still in place, would I want to remove the front one first, the side one, this side first? Okay. And do I want to slide it down, slide it up, just pull it out? Okay, so again, you're going to use your imagination to find what you want. I'm pretending that there's this metallic plate that extends pretty big, and I'm just going to move it out slowly of my energy field and away from my heart, away from my body, and then into that trash can of the universe. And then I check, may I have a clear no and a clear yes? Is there still any plate there? No. Okay. Is it appropriate to go on and clear the other plates now? No. Do we need to? No. We just needed the example? Yes. Okay. You might have to clear several plates at once, one at a time, whatever. And sometimes, like I say, they have to slide out. Sometimes I can just go in and pull them out. Sometimes they need to be kind of coaxed out. You just talk to your body and ask questions, and it will guide you with that. Now let's just check. Is there anything else that I need to support my heart? Okay. Is it with some type of a color? Is it with some type of words? Is it an image? An image. Okay. My heart having open windows. Okay, so that's just what came to mind, is that it's summertime, there's blue sky, fresh air, and I'm opening all the windows around my heart so that I can give and receive energy as needed. Is that appropriate? Okay. And again, if you're doing it right, you'll feel it. You'll notice something shifting. Right or wrong, that's not a good terminology to use, but if you are noticing something, then it's actually happening. I truly have come to believe that this is not just a mental process. It is truly a physical, energetic, spiritual, whole body aspect. And you can simply clear it and be done with it forevermore, or it may be something that you need to take layers off at a time, and then you're done with it forevermore. It's been amazing to me to see clients shift from, oh, I had this pattern and it's always driving me crazy, and I just, I'm always taking in all these other people's energies. And once we address the topic, it's like they have this whole new life. They had no idea how that was controlling every single day and every single relationship in their life. And it's just gone. So it's a fun thing to work with. You really can explore that with joy. Other visualizations, obviously you can make up your own. You can use affirmations to help. You can use the essential oils, as we talked about. There's many different ways that you can bring this all together for your body. Let's see, I think that's it for the emotional aspects. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that there are wonderful supports. Excuse me while I pick some up here. The first support that I used, I absolutely love, I highly recommend, Louise Hay, Heal Your Life. It's a classic. She wrote it back in, the 80s? I don't even remember.
Heal Your Body.
82, Heal Your Body. Heal your body. And what it is, she was one of the first people to experiment with and publish something about how our mind's thoughts and our emotions affect our bodies. This book has pages and pages and pages of topics: Alzheimer's disease, ankle problems, anorexia, bleeding, body odor, fever blisters. I mean, it's alphabetical order. And then there is a column which talks about what the basic underlying problem is, the mental pattern that needs to be shifted. And then there are positive affirmational statements that you can use to help your body to change that pattern. And the way I first started using it was in the back, a chart of spinal misalignments. And as a chiropractor, it was great because people would be coming in to see me and saying, oh, my C3 always goes out. I have to get it adjusted all the time. Why is it not stable? How can I help it to be stable? And so, I would adjust it, and then I'd start looking this up and say, okay, so C3, it says, accepting blame for others, martyrhood, indecision, grinding oneself down, biting off more than one can chew. And then the affirmation, I am only responsible, or I'm responsible only for myself, and I rejoice in who I am. I can handle all that I create. So that's for every level of the spine, and then the other areas are addressed in the earlier section. Wonderful book. All right. More recently, I had been exposed to the books that Esther and Jerry Hicks had put out. I also had listened to some of their tapes in the early days, and then when the books came out, I wanted to explore and use those more. Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks is a wonderful book that presents a broader perspective of who we are in these bodies. These are all channeled information from a being called Abraham, a group of beings, I believe. And it just gives a much wider idea of yourself, not just being in a body, but being a spirit in a body, which is, again, something that bodies kept telling me over and over and over again. We are not just these physical forms, but we are incredible beings living in a physical life through this physical body. And in this particular version of the book, on page 114, she has a list of 22 different types of emotions. And you start from the bottom, theoretically, and work towards the top as you become more conscious of what emotions you're experiencing, what emotions you're putting out in the world. So at the bottom is fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. Moving up, you'd go up to insecurity, guilt, unworthiness. You move up to jealousy, you move up to hatred and rage, you move up to revenge, you move up to anger, move up to discouragement. These things may not sound like you're moving up, but they really are moving up until you get up towards the top where there's passion, and then there's joy, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. So if you have some emotions that you're experiencing that you really want to know more about the specific emotions, not just that there's a block here, you can find out, were these emotions that were particularly negative, and which one? How can I clear this? Do I need to say a positive affirmation? Do I need to look at a chart and practice moving up to the next emotion? They also have these wonderful CD sets. This one is called The Astonishing Power of Emotions. Let Your Feelings Be Your Guide. And it's also by Esther and Jerry. Jerry reads the book that Esther has presented. So tons and tons of things to learn about emotions. As I said, I work with emotions all the time, and they seem to be incredibly important in how the body heals. So we're going to take a short break. I would like you, during that break, to practice with at least those 2 topics about emotions, checking to see if you have any blockages anywhere in your body that are related to emotions, and then working to clear them in whatever way your intuition tells you, and reclaiming the area afterwards. And then the second topic was to see if you have any plates or disconnects in your body that would be helpful to clear out so that you can reclaim that area for your body. All right. Looked like the practice session had some good results from what I was watching. So I just had a question about eyes, and this person's eyes are actually improving as she's getting older rather than getting worse, as they're supposed to do. And so I just want to refer to that. I have had similar experiences in my own case where my vision has increased dramatically from how it was 20 years ago because I've been working on it all this time. And even though I'm 57 now, I don't have any issues with reading up close or any of the things that are supposedly what happens with normal aging of the eyes. I have come to believe that aging is totally due to the chemical responses that we have in our life to the foods and drinks and air and all the things that we are ingesting. And that you can be healthy and have good joints, not have arthritis, have good eyesight up until you are 90s, 100s, whatever it is, as long as you are caring for yourself and trying to promote that support of those organs and those structures. So don't buy into the idea that, oh, I'm 40, I have to start getting reading glasses, or I'm 50 and now my joints are starting to hurt and break down, or I'm 60 and I should have gotten a hip replacement back when I was 40, but I'll do it now. Whatever it is, all those normal beliefs about aging are beliefs, and so if you're feeling in conflict with them, do some brain integration with what your real true beliefs are. Help your body come to a healthier level, regardless of what age you are. Does that answer? All right, yes. Good. Okay, so now we're going on to the fourth segment, and this is about spiritual and energetic topics. Again, as with the others, I'm only going to be addressing 2 of many topics that are out there, but the ones that guidance suggested I go for are pretty potent. Now, when I first began working with people, I was physical, chemical, lifestyle oriented. I was a chiropractor, and that's what we were trained to deal with. Bodies, however, had a different idea, and session after session after session would come up with issues that were spiritual in nature or energetic in nature that I might have had maybe a little information about or had a little interest in personally, but hadn't had time to pursue it. And they sparked me learning much more about spiritual and energetic bodies. So that now I'm very much a believer that we are spiritual beings in a material world, to quote one of those popular songs, and that we really need to look at our bodies as being much more than simply vehicles or bodies that help us do what we're supposed to do in this modern life. So number 1 is that you've got an invisible support team everywhere. All of us do. I didn't know that, but I've learned that from all the bodies I've worked with over the past 25 years. We each have individual guides, we each have individual supports that are invisible, or maybe you can see them. I can't, but maybe someday I will. And you can feel their presence and learn to communicate with them as well. They are basically a larger parameter of your true self, in my opinion. What I've learned to believe is that we are all one. We are all interconnected. And so, yes, you might refer to them as angels and archangels, or as your guides, or as gods or goddesses, or great spirit, or whatever the terminology is. From one perspective, yes, they are these individual energetic beings who can assist us. From another perspective, they are simply a part of you that you're calling a different thing, because it's easier to gather the information that way for you. So just be open to the idea that you have this invisible support team to help you all the time. And it's more a question of, are you ready to connect with them, because they're always ready to connect with you. If you are ready to connect with them, what I found for myself in muscle testing is that I mentioned this briefly last time, I envision that there's this radio tuner, and just like you can listen to 92 FM or you can listen to 96 FM, you can change the dial on the tuner in order to tune in to whichever beings of light you feel comfortable connecting with. So if you're going to go on that level, it's not just your personal body wisdom, but it's a larger wisdom, a larger consciousness that can affect all humans, can affect the whole planet. It can be something that's affecting the solar system, the galaxy, and beyond. And they can give you very specific, practical advice. So, me being who I am, I always ask for practical information. At the beginning, I was just asking for any information, and it was fascinating, but it really didn't have any practical value. And so it became kind of, yeah, right, okay, what's the point of that? And I think they also felt kind of that way, that, so what, now you know this, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it to help people? So now I ask for more information that is specifically practical in nature. And it may be practical only for me, or it may be practical for me in my relations with others. And if it's practical for me in my relations with others, then it's like dropping a stone into water, that the ripples go out, and every person that you affect with that new information and that new way of looking at the world, or looking at their bodies, your bodies, helps them to look at the world in a different way as well. And this is perfect timing, whether it's 2012 as destruction or as the beginning of a wonderful new existence, or just 2012 going into 2013, it's all good timing. The more conscious we can become as humans, the less cruelty, violence, and war there's going to be. So I need you to learn how to work on this level and spread the word to others in your lives. So the first topic that we're going to discuss is what I call interference. Interference is basically some type of energetic that is preventing you from being your true self, preventing you from feeling whole and healthy and happy in your life and in your existence. And there is interference in many planes, many levels. It can start as simply as being interference from someone in your family. A parent, a sibling, a child who has certain attitudes and emotions that interfere with your well-being. It can be interference from people who have passed on, what is technically called discarnates, but commonly called ghosts. I didn't believe in any of this. I didn't think that there was any validity to any of this until, again, it started being shown to me by my clients' bodies that this person had this issue, this person had that issue. And then I would take whatever I learned at the office from clients and check into my body and find out, do I have this? What do I need to do if I do? And gradually over the years, I have become, an expert ghost buster, shall we call it? Because apparently New England, and probably many places, is overrun with ghosts, with beings people who have died, usually some tragic accident or some, war between the French and the Indians or the British and the colonists or whatever, and their spirits have still been stuck. That for some reason they didn't have the information that they needed or the wisdom that they needed to be able to leave the earth plane and simply rejoin with all that is. So you never know what it's going to lead to. But there's also interference from entities, which is another term, for beings who have not been or are not currently in human bodies or were not in human bodies in the past, but are just hanging around. They tend to hang around with people who are not really consciously present in their bodies, So, for example, if there's somebody who has been addicted to alcohol or to drugs or to pharmaceutical drugs, and is dulled and oftentimes not really present, so their body is just kind of this empty husk, then entities come in and say, all right, we're going to take over. We're going to use this body to do some things that we want to do. And unfortunately, oftentimes that's not good stuff. That's things that create more problems for our society and for that particular individual. Another type of interference that people have to deal with is of what I call beings of the dark. Now, it doesn't mean that light is good and dark is bad, because I happen to love darkness. I love it at night. I love the darkness when there is no light other than the incredible skylight, starlight, cloud light, whatever it is, the moonlight. So I don't see dark and light as opposites in that sense, or dark as evil and light as good. What it means to me is just that beings of the light are totally 100% committed to helping and assisting. Beings of the dark are often confused. They are actually light beings, but they have taken on too many of our human attributes because they've been hanging around with us for too long, or with certain humans. So it's nice to simply recognize that, okay, these are a little confused and they're not really the best to listen to or to ask for assistance. Who we really want to ask for assistance are the beings of the light who are 100% committed and clear in their help. So all of these beings, or all of this interference, can cause physical issues, it can cause emotional issues, and usually the people aren't even aware of it. So, as someone brought up earlier, many of the people who have mental illnesses who I have dealt with personally have just been interfered with. That they don't realize that they have such and such and so hanging around in their energy fields. And so they may have, 5, 10, 15 minutes of feeling really good in a day, and then it all goes to, well, it doesn't work. And so what has happened is that they've had their few moments of clarity, and then the interference pattern says, no, wait a minute, you're getting away from me. I want this body to be able to help to do some of the things I'm doing, or I want to explore your body, and if you're clear and calm and happy inside your body, then I won't have control to help to explore that body. I don't believe any of them are really there to hurt us. But like I say, they're confused, and we need to be aware and learn how to be aware of claiming, this is my body, this is not anybody else's body, this is only for me and for my purposes, my soul's purposes, my deepest, truest self's purposes. Anybody else who's there, be gone. And it can be as simple as that you just say, be gone, and they go away because you've claimed your authority over your body. Or it may be that you need to actually do some things to get rid of them. It's kind of like if you have mites, you can't just say, be gone. Maybe you can. But you have to do some things to get rid of the mites, or whatever it is that's pestering you. Okay, so let's go on and look at interference and how to clear that. As I said, I tend to do a lot of so-called ghost busting. And this is just personally in my own life. And it was not something I chose to do. It was just that in talking with my guidance before I would go to sleep, it would come up that I needed to do something. Okay, is it a healing? No. Is it a clearing? Yes. Okay, a clearing of what? A clearing of myself, a clearing of my partner, a clearing of the room, a clearing of the campus on which I'm living right now, a clearing of this area of Vermont. Oh, okay. How am I going to clear this area of Vermont? And then I would ask questions and find out what it was. And then I would do it and feel it and notice what's going on. Do I feel any different? And then ask, have I made any change? Okay, great. That was simple enough. Well, it got so during the time prior to the elections, there was probably 2 months where every single night I was clearing all of the East Coast. why that was my assignment, I don't know, but it was. It wasn't just Vermont. It wasn't just northern New England. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. But it was the entire East Coast. And maybe that means that somebody else was doing it in those other locations, or maybe that was just all my energetic body could handle. I don't know. So explore, and you'll have fun finding out who you are and what your roles are in the spiritual energetic realms. Okay, so what has come up for me in doing it is that one effective way, besides saying be gone, is to imagine that there is a pillar of light that comes down from the heavens. And it can be any color, but generally I see it as blue. Sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's white, but generally for me it's blue, and maybe it's just because it's sky blue coming down. But the pillar comes down and it surrounds me if it's just my personal body, or it surrounds the room or the house or the area. So it can be as wide as it needs to be or as narrow as it needs to be. And it comes down from the heavens and creates a pathway energetically for the clearing of whatever the interference is. And once that pillar is established, and you can muscle test and say, okay, is it set up? Yes, all right. And then you ask the invisible beings of light to assist you. Or you can just turn on the vacuum cleaner and suck it out. So it depends on whom you're working with and how you want to set it up. But then you can just have that be drawn up to the heavens and taken away from the area in which it's affecting. That works really well for discarnate ghosts. Because here the idea is that these are just people who died suddenly and got stuck and didn't know where to go. And so it's like a helping hand comes down through that pillar and guides them to where they do need to go so that they can continue to learn their lessons outside of the earth plane. It also works really well for the beings of the dark, because those beings of the light help to take them away and clear them of their confusion so that they can return to being fully 100% beings of the light. And of course, once they're gone through the pillar, they're not your responsibility, not that they were ever your responsibility at all, but they're beyond your task. Then it's up to the beings of the light to do their work with them. If it's people, family members, issues that you have with somebody at work, whatever it is, you can do the same thing by bringing a pillar of light over you and that person. And then envisioning that whatever has been interfering with the two of you and your best relationship can be pulled up out through that pillar of light. Entities. Oftentimes I have found that entities tend to get attached to bodies. Like I said, it's like, you're not there, so I want to hang on to this body because I can do things through the physical realm that I couldn't do when I didn't have a body. So you might want to ask some questions of, if it comes up that there is, yes, an entity present, okay, is it affecting my head region, my neck region, my chest, all those different regions? It may literally be attached to a body part inside your body via a hook or a plug or something, like you could just imagine that, oh yeah, it's hooked in there. Or it may be somewhere in your energy field. So basically arm's length around your whole body, under your feet, everything like that, in all directions. You've got this energy field that is, the outermost layer is considered to be the spiritual, then the mental, then the emotional, then the physical. And it just comes more and more solid as it comes into your physical body. So it might be out there. And if the case is that it's an entity and it's hooked into you, then you want to find, where is it hooked? Is it out there? Okay, I'm going to unhook it. Or is it in my body? Okay, I'm going to unhook it and release it and then take it out of there. Okay, like suctioning it out. Okay. So all of the pillar of light works for all of those different situations. You just have to adapt and accommodate the situations to that whole way of doing it. All right, so let's just do an example. May I have a clear no and a clear yes? Is there any presence in this room right now that it would be helpful for us to clear? Yes, okay. Do we need to know who or where or what or how many? No. Okay, can we just work with the pillar of light image? Yes. And should it surround the entire room? No. Should it surround the entire building? No. Should it surround the town of Putney? Yes. Okay, so please, if you would all help me right now, just imagine that there is a very, very broad blue pillar of light coming down from the skies and surrounding the entire village of Putney. And anyone who is ready to release and clear any interference can easily let go of it, even if they don't know that they have that interference. And we ask that the beings of light assist whichever aspect of interference it is to guide those interfering energies up, out of the pillar, and out to the universe as a whole, where they can continue to heal and grow and learn. So I noticed changes in my body. You should see if you noticed anything in your body. May we have a clear no and a clear yes? Has that been accomplished? Yes. Is there still work that people can do as individuals if they choose? Yes. Good. And the whole village of Putney has been cleaned of some of those interfering energies? Yes. Excellent. Thank you. Putney thanks you, even though they don't know it. Okay. All right, let's go on and talk about the second topic in the spiritual energetic realm. Second topic is one that came up frequently also, and it's about damaged chakras. Now again, when I started practice, I didn't know much at all about chakras. I think I had read Shirley MacLaine's book, Going Within, back in the 80s, and it talked about chakras. It's a wonderful book, still is. But I didn't really have any practical experience in it. And I was directed by people's bodies that chakras needed to be addressed in certain individuals, and they would specify through the muscle testing, is it the first chakra, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh? And usually we would just work with the major chakras of the body. Now, chakra is Sanskrit for energy center, or it's actually for whirling energy. And the first chakra is at the crotch, and it receives ideally from the earth below. The second chakra is right above your pubic bone and right where your sacrum and your coccyx meet, and it's directly in between, but there's a front entrance and a back entrance. The third chakra is at the solar plexus, and it's right about where the ribs come to an end in the back, a front entrance and a back entrance. Fourth chakra is the center of the heart chest. It's not really the heart, it's the chest. And the back entrance is around T7, so kind of at the bottom of your scapula, your shoulder blades. The fifth chakra is the center of the neck and throat. The sixth chakra is the third eye, and this between the back of the head, halfway between. And the crown chakra, the seventh chakra, is at the top of the head and ideally receives from the universe. So if all your chakras are functioning properly, then you're receiving from the earth, from the air, from the sun, from the sky, from the stars all the time, and you've got boundless energy in all of the organs and tissues and structures that are affected by those chakras. If they are damaged for whatever reason, then the energy doesn't come in properly, and that worsens whatever physical condition might be in that area. So, commonly women and men both will have second chakra issues because of something that happened sexually at some point in their life that confused them or blocked it up or whatever happened. People's fourth chakras may be damaged because of some heartbreak that they had 30 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. Eyes and the health of the eyes can often be affected by something happening with your sixth chakra. So all of these damaged chakras can actually be identified and healed pretty quickly simply by identifying it, asking where it is, what it is, which chakra area, and then seeing how you can help it. Again, use your imagination, use your intuition, come up with whatever your being tells you to do. I'm just going to do an example of something that's a really easy thing to do, and that is to picture that right beneath you is the earth, and at the center of the earth is this core of molten energy. And it is tons and tons and tons and tons of energy. It's what spreads out through the entire earth to allow plants to grow, all of us to live on this earth. Just envision that there is a geyser, like Old Faithful, between that and you. And it's a gentle geyser. It's not going to, blow you up 150 feet in the air or burn you with its heat. It's just going to provide this incredible life force for you. So it comes up, and you can modify it however you wish. It comes up and it comes into the first chakra. There is a rod of light that connects all of the chakras, and it goes up into the bottom of the first chakra. It goes all the way through all the other chakras, out to the top of the head, and goes all the way up to the universe, way beyond the Earth's atmosphere. And then it turns around, and the universal energy comes down and goes all the way through that vertical rod of light and goes down to the Earth's core. So that your body, your chakra systems, becomes a conduit for the universe and the Earth to meet each other. By doing that, you can easily clear out blockages, bring in healing energy, and you might need to check and see how often do I need to do this, that kind of thing. So again, I'm going to do a little bit of an example here. May we have a clear no and a clear yes. Is it appropriate to address chakras? Is there any chakra that my body would like to address? Okay. Do I want to work with the first, with the second, with the third, with the fourth, with the fifth? Okay, so that's my throat. Do I want to talk about the front entrance, the back entrance, the center? Okay. So is the center blocked up? Is the center moving sluggishly? All right. Moving sluggishly. So the image comes to mind of, a stream where it's slowed down, there's boulders, there's things in the way, and it has to go around and over and under all these various things. All right, so should I use the whole geyser imagery? No. Should we go in and remove the boulders? Okay. Can it be easy? Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to call upon the beings of light who would like to assist me. And I'm seeing all kinds of beings going into that river and pulling out the boulders. They can do it without any effort. Big ones, small ones, flat ones, round ones. And they're making a nice pile of rocks on the side. And as the boulders are coming out, it's getting more and more fluid and direct in the flow. You have a clear no and a clear yes. Is that sufficient? Thank you to those beings of light who assisted me. Is there anything else to do right now for my throat chakra? Now. Would it be helpful to do anything at home for it? Yes. Okay. Working with colors, working with the same image. Same image for days, weeks, a week, two. For 2 weeks, work with the same image. Okay. Thank you. All right. So again, some examples. Now you can play with anything that comes to your mind, any of the chakras, use your intuition like I said, and trust it, and help to clear yourself so that you can get more and more flow through your chakras and through your energy systems. All right. We're going to stop and have a short practice session, and then we're going to come back for like a 5-minute wrap-up, and the class will be over at that point. Okay? Good job. It looked like there was, again, some good questions that came out of that and some good work. So we've introduced a lot of different information for you to work with. It's going to be interesting for you. I would recommend you keep a journal or some type of processing that reminds you of what it is that you've gone over. It's quite interesting for me to look back at things that I did in the past and learn from and how it shifted and changed my whole life, but I didn't really realize how big it was at the time. So if you feel like it, you can take notes on it and keep a little running journal, or you can just do it when it comes up and let it go. The important thing is that you have opened this whole new way of being, of talking with your body, communicating, learning from it, and learning to access invisible ones who are out there to help support you. So I highly recommend that you play with it, practice with it, have fun with it. True guidance, either from the body or from invisible ones of light, is something that feels right. It feels good to you. It feels joyous, or it makes you laugh, or it might be a surprise. It might be some surprising information, but it's information that then leads you to feeling better and better. If there's any time when you feel like, I don't know about this one, don't follow it. Don't pursue it. Ask again at another time. Really trust your intuitive response and trust that your body can guide you to let you know if this is right. If you start getting information that just seems confusing, or it just doesn't make sense, or nah, I really don't believe that, then stop. Trust that you are off of the path and you want to take another time to get back on the path. As I said last time, it's a good idea to just work with muscle testing or intuiting or whatever it is that you're doing for short periods of time. It really is like a skill, riding a bicycle, that you have to learn how to do. And yes, you're going to fall off. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have times when you're not clear at all. You're going to have other times when it's clear as a bell. That's fine. Just trust that process. Take the time to center again. Try it another time. Don't give up, because it's a wonderful tool for creating this wholeness of self that you might not have experienced, or you may just be getting tidbits of how to do it. And it can greatly enhance your life. I can't imagine what my life would have been like had I not been muscle testing for the past 30 years. And the information that comes is just incredible. It's fascinating, it's fun, it's rewarding, and it helps you feel better in your body. So I highly recommend it. I want to thank you all for coming. 3 hours is a long time to sit and to learn new information, and I really appreciate your willingness to be here. And I'd also like to thank the camera crew. Allison, thank you so much. Teague, Allison Teague. And I'd also like to thank the audience that hopefully will be viewing this someday, either locally or on the internet in some format. So thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Be well.